Hello everyone. Today we will be exploring local space astrology at astro.com and some of the features discovered since the last time. Once you're logged in, you can find the module through the free horoscopes section through the pull down menu at interactive horoscopes astro click local space. We'll be looking at the chart of someone. This person is a teacher, and we'll be using his chart to illustrate how to use this. So when you bring up the person's chart, it'll default to birth location. I'll have the person's chart open on another page to illustrate ideas behind this technique. Previously, I noted how here they show you the lines of a planet in both directions. Although I realize now that one side is darker or thicker, the line is thicker than the other side. And the thicker side indicates the direction going towards it, and the thinner one is going away from it. So that really helps. As you can see, for instance, Mars going towards is thicker, and so are these. So very easy to see, and I hadn't noticed this when I first made the other video. So that's really good. Another thing I found out is that they have a search function to search locations around the world. And it works really well. Let's say you're going to be visiting New York, and you want to explore the local area as far as the energies contained, or any other location. So it works pretty well. I mean, as you can see, I was able to go to New York rather quickly, and then zoom in to see exactly where the energies are in the place. And you can move this pin to the exact location of where you're going to be staying, and then examine the area. Works great. Okay, so I want to go back to the birthplace and zoom out. Because local space works for several hundred miles out from the location you're looking at. You don't want to go too far beyond that. But for illustration purposes, I want to note that he didn't stay very long in his birthplace, which is here, El Paso. So he ended up moving as an adult to Southern California, where he worked primarily as a teacher most of his adult life. And as we see here, we see that Southern California has the line of Mercury very close to it, in addition to the descendant, which is other people. And Mercury is one of the teaching planets along with Jupiter. And in his chart, Mercury is the odd Makaraka, holding the highest degree. So very interesting. I don't know that he traveled along this line to get to Southern California. Maybe he went somewhere else first. But astrology is about coincidences that are not so random. And here we have one. Something else that I found interesting is this person lived in Orange, California, the city of Orange. So we'll go to Orange and explore some interesting things about his life in this local space. So now I've placed the pin to very close to where this person lived for most of his adult life. He lived in this area, and he worked over here as a teacher. I have listed his name as teacher. He's retired now, but for many decades he worked at the junior college. And if we explore what energies are going through that place, find the strongest influences are the lines of Saturn and Mars. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to show you this chart, because Mars and Saturn are not always bad. It's not always the case that you want to stay away from them, because it's all dependent on the conditions of those planets in your horoscope. So this person, from his home location, daily traveled to work between Saturn and Mars. Why? So we look at his chart, we see that Mars is in the 9th house, both by sign and by cusp, very close to the 9th cusp. I think this is Placidus here. Yes, it is. And Saturn is also in the 9th house, right? The 9th house is the house of teaching, especially higher learning, and he was a teacher of an institute of higher learning. Further, Mars is in its own sign of Scorpio. Mars is very strong. And also, Mars is 2 degrees in aspect to Mercury, again, planet of teaching. And we saw how Mercury, from his birth location, went right through Southern California. So very good, very interesting. We see that Mars for him is actually a really good planet. And this person did serve in the army as a young man. So Mars is doing him very well. Another thing I noticed, in addition to ruling the 9th house, it also rules the 2nd house, house of income. So he makes money teaching, right, through Mars and Saturn. Again, Saturn is in the 9th house as well. So this illustrates perfectly that it's not always the case to think Mars bad, Venus good. Depends on the conditions. This person has great Mars, and even Saturn is not all bad because it's in the 9th house with a planet that's in its own sign. Another thing I want to show, in addition, the person also worked at another school, traveled over here and towards the west, a school that lay in this direction. He also taught classes over here at an institute over here. And look again, we have Mercury. It's actually going away from Mercury, but it's still in the axis of Mercury. Notice how the line is thicker on this side and thinner on this side, but nonetheless it's on the axis of Mercury. So we can click on the lines and get the significations. So let's click on Mercury, where he traveled to work to teach. We see that it says, among other things, that Mercury line involves intellect in some way and can also pertain to professional skills. Educational and business travel may be other reasons for following this pathway. So exactly the case that he would travel along his Mercury line to engage in intellectual endeavor, educational, professional endeavor, and then back again along the same line towards his home. We also have the descendant, meaning other people, teaching other people. So that's really great. Hope you enjoy this